Think about 71,000 minutes. That translates to, I couldn't do it in my head, 118 hours. And we just got some numbers, and that's how many minutes were spent watching our YouTube videos of this podcast over the last month, which is pretty cool. So thank you very much. If you're one of those 118 or 71,000 minutes, so, and that's a lot of viewing time. And of course, we have a lot more listening time and you can view it on YouTube, or you can listen on any podcast platform. But I just thought those numbers, when I saw the minutes, it was sort of like, that's a lot of time people are spending. So welcome and thank you for watching or listening to another edition of Odyssey House Journals. I'm Randall Carlisle, your host, and my guest today is Robin Patfield. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So you contacted me and said you had a story to tell, and the whole point of this podcast is so people learn more about addiction and recovery, and that recovery is possible no matter your age or gender or anything else. So tell me your story.
Right. Well, thanks again for having me on. I'm honored to be here. Over 8 years ago, or I guess, going back, I've just had a long-standing problem with alcohol for sure, dating all the way back to, I would say, high school.
I got you beat. I had it for over 40 years.
Yes, so. I've heard some of your stories.
Yes.
For sure.
So go ahead.
And then along the way, and so drank to excess pretty early on, and definitely saw some signs of having some issues there, some problems with it. But then a little later on had some back issues, and prescription medication came into play with all of that and the combination of those things. And I was addicted right away to prescription medication. And that was during the time when doctors were really kind of paid to feed medications and give out samples and really push them onto patients.
You're having pain? What? Let me write another script for how many 100 pills?
Yeah, I would get bottles of 100 pills at a time. It was absolutely insane looking back on that now. And so got addicted really fast, and definitely recognized along the way that I had a problem, but kept thinking that I could somehow fix it on my own, or those that I've heard a lot of people talk about, like different combinations of things. Like I would only drink beer, or I would only take pills one day, or, just switch things up.
I'll move somewhere else. I'll change jobs. Sounds like a book out of the AA big book.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I'll just switch things up all the time. And I just kept fooling myself that I could somehow fix it on my own, or somehow stop, when I was just fully addicted, and my life was just completely spiraling out of control. I moved from California to Utah in 2014 with my then 12-year-old daughter, single mom. And she's a big part of my story. And I finally hit a true rock bottom in 2017, when I got behind the wheel of my car in the middle of the night and drove downtown and was arrested, got a DUI, and spent the night in jail that night. I absolutely don't remember any of it. And
so you had blackout periods?
Oh, yes.
I did towards the end. Almost every time I drank, I blacked out.
Yeah, me too.
So do you remember being arrested or not?
No.
Really?
No. But apparently I was very charming. It's just
the cops.
Incredible.
We had this charming drunk that we got last night. So
still have respect for authority, but I was blitzed out of my mind.
So the first realization was when you woke up in jail?
That was my true rock bottom. But kind of going back a little bit, I had seen over the years, and especially kind of maybe the year or so leading up to that, I had some major issues. So to appease family and others, did jump in and do outpatient for a little bit at Odyssey House.
Okay.
But I really kind of faked my way through that, and it was just terrible. And I I am embarrassed now to even think about how I behaved then. I would bring in, I did have some prescriptions, but I was also, it was just a terrible time. And I was having dirty UAs and,
Yeah, you can't fake those out.
no. And I kept thinking I could. I was just so delusional with all of that, which is such a part of active addiction, right?
Sure. Were you combative in the IOP program?
Oh, no, that's not really my style.
Okay.
Maybe a little more now, but not then.
Okay.
No, I was just kind of like meek and just tried to sort of to get through it. And then I just finally kind of disappeared from
Okay.
all of it. So then I hit that rock bottom and spent the night in jail. And part of the story too was just a lot of damage I had done with my relationship with all of my family. I had lost jobs. I mean, it's just terrible situation. But the main one was with my daughter, who was 14 at the time of that overnight in the jail.
And that's already a tough age for kids.
Such
and
a
to
tough
have
age.
a drunk, addicted mom.
And I was, we did a lot of like role reversal type stuff where she was taking care of me. She was putting me to bed. She was having to make herself meals. I mean, I was just in terrible shape, and I couldn't figure out at the time how to get myself out of it. And I was just sort of plugging along. So the rock bottom, as bad as it was, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that it happened. I needed some kind of wake up call, and it could have been so much worse. So my family did an intervention at that time and sent me to residential treatment. I went to Aqua in Midway for 45 days, and that place completely saved my life. My parents stayed with my daughter at the time. I'm very grateful for all of their help and support. And then when I got out of treatment, I needed to do IOP for myself and for several reasons. And so Odyssey House took me back with open arms, and they saw that I was serious this time. And I had clean UAs, and I jumped back into the program. So.
And you know what you bring up is I facilitate a family support group and people with addicted loved ones, and they keep saying, well, I put my loved one in this program and it didn't work, and I told my loved one, but what you pointed out is you have to decide yourselves that you want help and do it for yourself, which then radiates to the rest of your family, or in your case, your daughter.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a huge piece of it. And she had to sort of watch that progress happen. And so, I really did it for everyone else, and it wasn't working. No. I did it for everyone else.
When you were role playing with her at your bad time when she was 14, how did that go? Was she saying, "Mom, can you just stop drinking?" Or
right?
What?
Well, she was kind of like me at the time, very very non-confrontational, but she was definitely like extremely frustrated and sad, and it was a terrible terrible time for both of us. And her father also struggles with addiction too. He's doing a lot better now. But yeah, she was in a very difficult situation. And so, one thing I learned in treatment, especially dealing with teenagers, is to stop apologizing all the time and show her that I'm sorry and live a better life, and to listen, that active listening. So I got out of treatment, and I just tried to give her the time and the space to heal. And I had to show her that I was going to stay sober. And it's been a long road, but we have rebuilt our relationship now.
So she'd be in her 20s now?
She's 22 now.
Okay. Yep. And now when you're discussing your past addiction, how does she look at it?
She is amazing now. So she came with me to a meeting when I celebrated my 8 years in July, and she gave me a gift. She tells me she's proud of me. It's just absolutely amazing. And it's been a long road. It took a while to get there, but.
How did your addiction start? Do you remember? Or at like what age and how it progressed?
I just think it was so excessive early on. Like, I just think I'm a bit of an excessive person. Excessive exercise, excessive just work. I'm kind of extreme with some things, you know, and so I think that was a bit of the drinking at the beginning. But definitely a little later on, when the pills introduced themselves more in like my 30s, that was when everything kind of came crashing down, and also along with my marriage too. And that's a big combination in all of that. Her father and I just weren't doing well. So I think the combination of everything when the pills were introduced. Alcohol had definitely been a problem, but when the pills came in, it went 0 to 60. I mean, just really bad.
And the problem with alcohol is it's so readily available.
Yes.
And it's still, I'm still amazed, like if you watch TV shows, even conservative shows like, say, Blue Bloods, okay? I don't know if you watch that show, but Frank, the police chief, and his dad, whenever they sit down to talk, they pour themselves a glass of scotch, and and if you watch any sporting events, beer is huge.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And
it's everywhere. And on that trip I was just talking to you about, it was kind of all over the place too.
See, I've been afraid to take trips. I guess we won't say where you went, but you went to some exotic places, and that have a lot of ocean and beaches and stuff like that. And my image through my drinking years was going to a beach and getting loaded. And so even though I've been sober for 13, going on 14 years, I'm still afraid. I still have not taken a vacation to a beach.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that it's going to trigger me, and I'm going to say, I could have one drink. And as an alcoholic, you can't do that.
No, absolutely not. And I am now dating someone who we call a normie, and he occasionally drinks, but we've had the most amazing conversations about that exactly. I cannot have just one.
Right.
And he's very supportive of my recovery, and we talk openly about it, but he's also trying to understand because he's not in recovery himself. But there's no such thing as just one drink or just one pill or any of it. Right. I will be off to the races in a heartbeat.
It's something about I consider myself a somewhat logical person. And the last time I relapsed, I had been clean for 9 months, and this would have been like 14 years ago. And for some reason, I lived downtown, and I said, I think I can go to the bar that I used to go to, and I can have one beer. And I remember having one beer, and then the alcoholic brain kicked in. It said, well, you're okay after one beer. Yeah. You can have another.
Right.
And I ended up staying for hours and stumbling out of the place just totally drunk.
Right.
And it's just, I wish you referred to it, for those of you watching or listening, the word normie, which we as alcoholics use as a person who, she just described her, is it your husband or boyfriend? Boyfriend. Yeah. You can go out and they can have 1 or 2 beers or glasses of wine, and then they say, well, that's right. All I need.
Right.
And we can't do that.
We cannot do that. No.
So now you from what I glean, you have a very successful career. What are you doing? What do you do now?
So I work for Utah Manufacturers Association. It's a trade association that supports manufacturing in the state of Utah.
Which is pretty big.
It's pretty big. Yeah. It's great. And I'm our vice president of operations, so I kind of run all of everything to do with operations, and it's just been amazing. I've been coming up on 2 years in that job, and I was with Stadler U.S. before that.
Which is a huge
train company, builds passenger rail trains.
They're German-based, aren't they?
Swiss.
Okay.
Yes, Swiss.
And don't they make our tracks trains? Or?
They will be, yes. Yeah. Yes, they just got a contract to build those. So,
wow.
Yeah, and that was a great place to work. They really helped me get back on my feet after I got clean, and were very supportive of my recovery, and I was very open with them about that because that was early days.
I was going to ask you, because a lot of our clients who are getting out of our program have difficulty in how honest they should be when they're applying for jobs.
Yep.
So it sounds to me like when you applied for that job, you were honest about your past.
Yeah, I was.
How do you?
I was. So we were renting space at that time in a UTA building, and they had to do background checks on us to be in that building. And so I had to. Was kind of forced, but I was
you
pretty
can't fake it like you would think you could
right,
fake the
right,
UAs.
No, right, exactly. No more faking anything. I was done with all of that. And so I went to the head of HR and let him know kind of my background, and he was just extremely supportive. But I also know that as a whole, that company. The U.S. operation, at least, is very supportive of hiring people with a past. There have had some very successful people there who have had some things in their past, and they take it on a case-by-case basis, but they do a great job with that.
Which makes a lot of sense, and I wish more companies would look at it like that. I mean, just because you were 9 years ago, you were screwed up and got busted for DUI. Doesn't mean you are now.
Right, exactly.
Your past doesn't define who you are now.
Not at all. Not at all. And I just second chances, and just we're examples of you can turn your life around. I sure, right? I think I hit either 2 or 3 years clean. I was on a little trip with my mom, and she sat me down and she said, "I've never met anyone who's turned their life around like you have." And it just blew my mind. And so I just feel like people just need the chance. They need people to believe in them. They need that hope, and they need an opportunity. They need to be able to work, Well, that's like the basics,
that's a good
right?
Point.
Yeah.
And you think of how counterproductive it is for somebody who is genuinely into sobriety and wants to do a good job and has a clear head and is an intelligent person, and to be rejected for a job because of what you did several years ago.
Right.
And then it's just, and it happens to a lot of our clients. If you go out and because you have a slightly criminal record, and that goes along with a lot of drug addiction is that people steal and stuff like that to support their
hand
habit.
in hand, for sure.
But that doesn't mean you're going to steal now.
Right.
But if you get rejected for housing and a job, the way an addict's brain thinks is, I worked so hard to get clean, and now I can't get in. I can't support myself, so I might as well start using again.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's where hopefully the expungement process comes into play.
Right.
And I've seen that getting better. I know it's got a ways to go, and it's a kind of, I think the support around that is fairly understaffed, but hopefully that's getting better. I did get one of my charges expunged.
Did you?
So yeah, I had unfortunately a domestic violence charge from 2015, but I did get that one expunged.
Yeah, we're not necessarily nice people when we're drunk, are we?
No, I can't even believe it. And I just don't ever want to be that person again. I don't ever want my daughter to see that or hear my voice slur or act that like I was when I was drunk and high ever again. So
why did you want to tell? A lot of people ask me, a lot of people do watch or listen to these podcasts, and they'll say, I'm somewhat shocked that people will come in and bare their souls, which really you've done. You talk about past bad things you've done and everything. Why would you want to do that?
I think I have a message of hope. I really do, especially around rebuilding my relationship with my daughter. I talk to a lot of people about that. A lot of people who have really lost and damaged family relationships. And I try to talk to them about what happened with me and how far I've come. And we're all in this together.
Right.
And I really want to help other people, other addicts, who have been through similar things. And because a lot of people have helped me. Like we say, I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous and go to a lot of those meetings. And I'm sure this is like some similar stuff in AA. They say in the beginning, we will love you until you learn to love yourself. And people did that for me. And now I'm trying to do that for other people across the board, whether it's in meetings or just people I get to know along the way who need that kind of help. So, and I'm trying to support and reach out to a lot of women. And I just want to help because people have helped me.
You know, it's funny, back in the old days of when AA started back in the 30s, they didn't consider that women had any issues. It was all for men. And if you go to any 12-step meeting now, whether it's whatever, HA and AA, it's pretty equal in terms of gender. You know.
Yeah.
And if you think back to the 30s, that was sort of weird because then I guess women just drank at home or something.
Right, and in that isolation, and and hid it. Right, we're very hidden and secretive.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
my wife has some issues.
Right,
that's why she can't come out tonight.
Right, right.
So
and the language in those. In all of the literature, tends to be very kind of male focused, but the idea of it is just all of it's so helpful, I find.
And the problem is so huge, people don't realize it, and it goes across all socioeconomic boundaries. It's just like rich people, poor people, people in between, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think the really cool thing that is happening now is that people like you or me will come out and say, yeah, this was the issue. This is how bad it got, but there is help and hope.
Exactly. And it took me a little while to be so public about this.
Oh, me too.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, of course, you were you were such a public figure. Yeah. And you still are.
The thing that I had so much trouble saying and admitting to myself, especially in a 12-step meeting, I'm Randall, I'm an
Yes.
alcoholic.
Yes.
And it's so hard to say that because it seems like such a negative term. But
I struggled, I would say, for a year. I mean, it was a while to say I'm an addict or I'm an alcoholic.
Right.
It's hard to say.
And I've heard people in meetings who can't say it, who will say, I'm Jim, and I have some issues with alcohol or drugs. Well, then why the hell are you at a meeting
exactly.
if your issues are not huge?
Right. Exactly.
I'm presuming that people who are in active addiction are not watching or listening to these podcasts because I don't think you'd devote 30 minutes. I don't think I could have focused on something like this back in my days. So most of the people, I'm presuming, are people who have loved ones or friends who are dealing with addiction. What advice would you give them? I mean, you can't go to somebody and say, because I was married and divorced 4 times, and all my wives told me, you drink too much. They said, you're an alcoholic. And I say, no, I just drink a lot because I like it. And people telling you, you're a drug addict, you're an alcoholic, that's not very helpful.
Right. I think definitely putting up those boundaries for yourself is huge, and taking care of yourself. And then, just like we were talking about, you can't really help that person until they are ready to get that help, until they get to the place where they are truly ready for help. And I've watched this over and over again, and I want so badly to just take some people by the shoulders and say, you've got to get help, go to here or there, let me take you somewhere in this, but they're not ready.
Right.
And so the people in their lives have to look out for themselves. And I've had to put up boundaries with some people in my life to look out for myself. And I've watched my daughter get to much better about that too, with her dad when he was really struggling. And she's learned that over the years. She's gotten so strong, and you have to take care of yourself, but you cannot help that person until they're ready to help themselves.
And the whole concept, you brought this up, and I find this with a lot of our clients, and I can speak for myself, is I never really loved myself. And I was really ashamed for all those years of being this public persona person, but having this issue that I hid. And I can say in sobriety, I love myself a lot more than I did in my drunken days.
Yes, exactly. Me too. And that has been a lot of hard work over the last 8 years, because I was in the darkest place when I hit that rock bottom. No self-love, no self-esteem. And I've come such a long way with that. A lot of self-love now, for sure.
We had an exercise once that we did here at Odyssey, and in one of our groups, and it was look in the mirror every day and tell yourself that you love yourself. And I tried that even now, and it's weird.
Right.
Looking, hi, Randall, I love you.
Yes. We did some of that in treatment too, and we would have to say these self-affirmations into the mirror, and it was the hardest thing. I struggled with that the whole time I was there, and still do, but working on it. Yeah.
And it always reminded me of the Saturday Night Live skit where the guy would say, you're good enough, you're strong enough. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And it was hilarious, but that's really what you need to do.
Oh, it's huge.
Is to learn to love yourself.
Well, I do. I have this wonderful gratitude journal that I try to do every day, and it's just really quick. But it's a few things I'm grateful for, and then like a self-affirmation kind of thing. I am good at. I am I'm happy about this with myself today, and those things, that brings me so much strength.
And that's important. I mean, I do at my age now. I get up every day, and the first thing I'm grateful for is the fact that I'm getting up every day.
Right.
So, and it really helps to be thankful, because I think most people, regardless of your stage in life, there are things to be grateful for. You've got to. I remember when I first started working with a sponsor, he said, I want you to call me every day and give me 10 things you're grateful for. And have them be different every day.
Right. Right. That's a lot.
I know it is.
For sure. Yeah.
So you got to start thinking about stuff like, well, I can see the blue sky, and that kind of stuff.
Really makes you think.
How's your relationship with your daughter now?
It's beautiful. It's just absolutely amazing and very strong. She's actually moving up to Portland this weekend, and I helped her get packed up yesterday, and we just had a beautiful morning. So, and I'll go to visit her, but yeah, we're very close now.
And it must make you feel good that she's so proud of what you've accomplished.
It means the world to me. So
thank you very much for coming and sharing your story. And if anyone can provide hope, it's a story like yours. And I appreciate it, because we've worked to get together on this for a couple of months. So
thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here with you.
And thank you for sharing your story, because it's an important one for people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for watching or listening and adding to those minutes. Another edition of Odyssey House Journals.